controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
All you got to do is start looking around, start thinking for yourself, start investigating things, and you will see it all right there. So you have the power. Humanity has the power. We have the power. Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one! 9/11 was an inside job.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776. Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's Thursday, May 16th, 2013, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, illegal search and assault, a new practice of the police department. And the IRS scandal finds a scapegoat as Obama ousts the IRS chief who was already leaving. Then, pioneering activist Larry Pinkney in studio. All that and more on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Our first story tonight is a story out of California. It's a story about police brutality. This is an amazing video that's going viral right now. It's over 200,000 views. Now you can find this story on Infowars.com. And as you can see when you watch it, these people are calmly and coolly telling the police that everything is fine. The police have been called because of a domestic disturbance, and when they got there, both the husband and wife told them that everything was fine, that the children were outside, but the police were determined to come in without a warrant. And these people were determined that they would not open the door for them. And they filmed everything that happened. And what's most disturbing about this, in my opinion, is the fact that you might argue that if the police suspect that it's a domestic disturbance, that they need to come in and take a look and not have a warrant. But beyond that, once they were told everything that was going on, they were told they were going to be there filming it, they kick the door in, and then they taser the people inside the house as they're filming them. They told them that they were going to be filming, so it wasn't anything surprising to the police. They just kind of do it as a, kind of like using an electronic whip. Let's take a look at this video.
They're going to arrest you, dude. They're going to fucking shoot us.
Oh, yeah, how many children
are in the house?
There's one child in the house and one is playing outside. Officer, there's one child.
Why are you guys not coming out? Why are you not coming out?
Because we don't live in a police state, sir. Martial law has not been established in this country.
Okay, can you do us a favor? All get down on your ground, get down on the ground, put your hands behind your back. We're gonna kick the door.
He can't record if his hands are behind his back. We need documentation of this violation of their civil rights.
Stay away from the door, sir.
He's got his hand up.
You're gonna kick my door. You kicked my door down. You kicked my door down.
Get on the ground.
You kicked my door down.
Yes, we did. Get on the ground.
No, you have no right to be in here. You have no right to be in here. You have no right to be here. You have no right to be in here. Do not touch her. You are assaulting her.
There we see what has become all too familiar sight. The police using quote-unquote non-lethal force to intimidate and punish people. The policeman knew that he was not under any danger. He was standing there for quite a while before he actually tasered the person who was filming him. There's absolutely no excuse for this, and we have to ask, why aren't citizens demanding that police have some rules of conduct placed on them for use of quote-unquote non-lethal force? Because a lot of times people do die when they're tasered. It causes serious injury to many people. And we need to put some restrictions and some rules on the police, and we need to make sure that those rules and restrictions are obeyed. Because all too often, when police are involved in brutality like this, they're never even suspended. Sometimes they're suspended with pay, sometimes without pay. They're usually reinstated. And even when it's a really egregious case, you have a police chief that wants to fire a cop for brutality, usually the police union will step in and defend that person and get them reinstated. Now, speaking of police getting more and more brutal, as we see them getting more and more brutal, they're going more and more after ammunition. And what we see happening now in Washington, D.C. is that they're now moving to force gun owners to buy prohibitively expensive liability insurance. This is another technique to get gun control by the back door. And of course, it's coming from the location where we see the police having the most disregard for the Constitution and the rule of law, Washington, D.C. This article, it says, in a frontal assault against the Bill of Rights, the District of Columbia is moving to force firearm owners to purchase prohibitively expensive liability insurance. It requires residents to purchase at least $250,000, $250,000 in insurance coverage before the city government would even consider an application to register a firearm. And of course, you would have to have that firearm unloaded because this is Washington, D.C., and it is illegal even to have the firearms that they graciously allow you to have there. It's illegal to have those unloaded in your presence. And of course, they're also maintaining that you cannot own handguns in D.C., even though the Supreme Court specifically struck down the D.C. laws 5 years ago in 2008. The article also says that if passed, the law will be the first in the country and serve as a precedent for Democrats and gun grabbers working to dismantle the Second Amendment. Absolutely. We see them pioneering this new tactic, and oftentimes we think that we're winning when we beat back their frontal assaults on things like registration, which in and of itself was really kind of a backdoor technique towards confiscation. But then we see them doing things like this insurance requirement. And understand that this is nothing but flat-out corporate fascism. The insurance companies are, for the most part, they're part of the finance industry, just like the banks. In many cases, they're the same, owned by the same people, and they have the same interests. They're operating as banks. And it's these same banks that are putting through these requirements to purchase their product and getting the government to force us to buy their product. Obamacare is a perfect example. And here we see, again, insurance that's going to be used by Washington, D.C., probably Chicago, California, all the typical places where they try to outlaw guns. And we also see the stealth tactics of them buying up ammunition and ammunition disappearing everywhere. And we see this also in a report here. Police department is being forced to borrow ammo from local residents. Report here on InfoWars, it says, in the wake of huge shortages of ammunition across the entire nation, police departments are turning to ever more desperate measures to keep their officers armed. Now, this is a Proctor, Minnesota police chief. He said, I go, do you have 40 caliber qualification rounds? And they go, well, no. It's going to take 6 to 8 months to get them, he told reporters. And a Proctor resident immediately offered to loan the police department 1,500 rounds from their personal supply. Now, contrast that to what we were told. We see these kind of reports all over the country. We know that the Tennessee Highway Patrol is having difficulty getting qualifying ammunition and told they have to wait for months and months. And yet, when we talked to Art Acevedo, the Austin police chief, he told us he had absolutely no difficulty getting ammunition. But of course, Art Acevedo is politically connected to the gun grabbers in Washington, D.C., to Joe Biden, and going to special dog and pony shows that they put on in Washington, D.C. So evidently, if you're politically connected, police chief, you can get the ammunition, but if you're not, you may have to wait. And we really ought to think about, if we look at this very first article about the California police breaking in and tasering these people, we look at the way the D.C. police are, and we look at the contrast between those areas and this place in a small town in Minnesota. Do you really think that residents in D.C. or residents in California would want to give ammunition to police who abuse and brutalize them like that? That's a lesson for the police. Police who are doing their job, who the community believes are not victimizing them. The community will stand with those police. But if things get tough and police are doing the kinds of things like we saw in that opening video, they're not going to get any support from the citizens when things get tough.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com. Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. Plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants. So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.